Hey everyone, I'm Nadine and welcome to Bookish Nook. Today I am doing my April wrap-up and May TBR, and I'm super excited to share this with you guys because I read 11 books and one graphic novel this month. So I'm super excited, and this video is going to be a bit longer seeing as I read so many books, but I'll try to keep it as short as possible. So let's just dive in. The first graphic novel, the only one I read this month, was volume 12 of The Walking Dead, which I loved so much and I thought it was so great. And I'm really trying to pace myself with these graphic novels because we only have 20 volumes released and I'm at 13 now, so I'm really trying to pace myself. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. The first book that I read this month was World After by Susan E., which is the second book to Angel Fall. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I think I talked about this already before in a previous video, but yeah, if you haven't read Angel Fall and World After, you should definitely go check them out because they are amazing. The second book that I read was White Hot Kiss by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I did a review video, so I will link that down below. The third book that I read this month was A Million Suns by Beth Revis, and this is the second book in the Across the Universe trilogy. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved every second of it, and this cover is just even more beautiful than the first. If you haven't read this trilogy, you should definitely go check it out. It's about these people who were cryogenically frozen and they're in like a space travel to get to a planet that essentially is supposed to be like Earth, and it's supposed to be the new Earth. This book was fantastic. I loved every second of it. The fourth book that I read this month was The Vincent Brothers by Abby Glines, which is the second book to the Vincent Boys. Now, the version I read was the uncut and extended version, which is a little more graphic. I gave it a 4.5 stars out of 5. There were a few problems that I had, but I did enjoy it overall. I think I liked it a lot more than the first one, but I think I rated the first one 5 stars. I'm not really sure, but either way, it was okay. It concluded this duology, I guess, pretty nicely. The fifth book that I read was To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I did a review of that, so I will link that down below, but I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. The sixth book that I read was Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I loved every second of it. This is an adult book. There are very adult themes in it, so be wary if you want to pick this up. It's very graphic, and it is getting turned into a movie. So I'm not sure when it's supposed to come out. It said sometime this year, but I think that's false. I think they're confusing the dates with Gone Girl, but I definitely really enjoyed this. The seventh book that I read was City of Fallen Angels by Cassandra Clare. I read this with a Clare-a-thon, which was super fun and exciting. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. This was a reread for me. I definitely enjoyed the original trilogy over this one, and I think I liked the original trilogy over City of Lost Souls as well, but it was still super fun jumping back into this world. I forgot how much I loved all the characters, especially Magnus. But yeah, I definitely really enjoyed this. 5 out of 5 stars. The eighth book I read was Burn for Burn by Jenny Han and Siobhan Vivian. I read this for the Chiclets Book Club Pick of the Month for April. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. No, a 3 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed the characters. Each of the perspectives were unique, but it was super cliche. I did a review of it, so I will link that down below. The ninth book I read was Shades of Earth by Beth Revis, which is the third and final book in the Across the Universe trilogy. I enjoyed this so very much. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Like I said earlier, if you haven't picked up this trilogy, definitely check it out. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second of it. The 10th book that I read was 4 Seconds to Lose by K.A. Tucker, which is the third in this series, 10 Tiny Breasts being the first, and then 1 Tiny Lie being the second. I gave this a 4 stars out of 5, and I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the characters, but I was expecting something more of along the lines of the first two. I would derive this more as an adult book, considering this first two are new adult. This has very mature themes in it, and it's not that I didn't like them, I just wasn't expecting that. This follows a strip club owner and essentially his personal quest to save all the employees that pass through his door. Then he meets this one girl, and he tries really hard not to break his cardinal rule of not sleeping with the staff, but of course he breaks it with her, and so on and so forth. And it was a really interesting read. The The main girl, her name is Charlie, has a really interesting backstory, and I don't know, I definitely enjoyed that about the book, although I was expecting a new adult, and this is definitely not a new adult. The 11th book that I read was Salvage by Alexandra Duncan. If you have not seen my review for this, which I will link down below as well, I gave this a 2 stars out of 5. I was expecting so much more, and I rant about it, and my review is spoiler free, so go check that out if you are interested in this book. Although don't let my personal opinion dissuade you from reading it if you're really interested in this. Apparently, I don't know how to count because I actually read 12 books this month, and the last one that I read was Don't Look Back by Jennifer L. Armentrout. And let me tell you, I loved every second of this. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. After reading Selfish, I needed a pick-me-up, and I knew that Jennifer L. Armentrout would not disappoint, and this is probably by far one of her best books that she has ever written to date. It's a mystery about a girl who wakes up and she doesn't remember anything that's happened in the past, I guess, 4 days, and her memory starts coming slowly back, although she doesn't remember who she is. She doesn't remember her name, so she goes through a huge transformation. This book is so good. There's the right amount of romance and then the right amount of mystery, and it was just so good. Definitely check this out. I think this is by far one of her best books. The characters are all developed nicely, and you love each one of them, except a few obviously, and then the writing style just seems more mature, and there are these moments when you can see Jennifer Armentrout's writing style and her other books come through, which I absolutely loved. I don't know, I thought this was probably her best book to date. So those are all the books I read in the month of April, and I'm so happy I got through so many. My TBR pile has just diminished completely, and I couldn't be more happy. So let's jump into my May TBR, and the book that I'm currently reading that I want to read and finish in May is A Game of Thrones by George R. R. Martin. I'm about 200 pages in. It has taken me a while to get to 200 pages. The writing style is a lot different than I'm used to, but it's nothing that I can't manage. It is a massive book, but I'm really enjoying it, and although there are many characters, it's actually pretty easy to keep track of them once you get a few chapters into each of their perspectives. You start to remember who each of the characters are. I'm definitely really enjoying this. I cannot wait to continue and finish it. The second book that I plan on reading in May is City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. This is going to be another reread for me. I'm super excited. I am reading this for the release of City of Heavenly Fire, which I plan on reading as soon as it comes out. The fourth book that I plan on reading this month is My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. This is the book pick for the Chiclets book club for May. I've heard of this book circulating around on BookTube for a while now, and now that it's the book pick for the Chiclets, I'm going to definitely pick it up, so I will leave the Goodreads link down below for their page. The fifth book I plan on reading this month is Smoke by Ellen Hopkins, and this is yet again another reread for me. She writes in verse, so this shouldn't be much to handle because they are pretty thick, but I am rereading this so that I can remember essentially the plot. I read this a very long time ago because I am finally going to read Smoke by Ellen Hopkins. It's been sitting on my shelf forever, and I said that I wanted to reread Burned before I read Smoke, so I decided I would do that during the summer when school's out, so perfect time. This one is also written in verse, so they shouldn't be too much to get through. My TBR this month is super ambitious, especially since I want to get through a Game of Thrones, and it's taken me quite a while to get to 200 pages, so I'm hoping that I get used to the writing pretty soon and I start reading a little bit faster, because I definitely want to read City of Lost Souls and then City of Heavenly Fire right after each other, as I am so excited to jump into that and finish. So if you've read any of the books that I read or plan on reading, comment down below and let me know what you're reading, what you plan on reading in the month of May.